This is part two of this lesson. Salakia for that because my OG had called. So this is part two of this lesson. It says the rocket attack was the second in recent days, with the regional views by increasing violence in recent weeks. On January 26th, Palestinian fighters fired two missiles at Israel in response to a deadly raid in the West Bank early that day. Then as well, Gazans fired a fresh vial of rockets at Israel when it carried out an using round of airstrikes early in the next morning. A statement from the National Resistance Brigades, the armed wings of the Democratic Front for the Liberation of Palestinian organization group, claimed responsibility for the second round of rocket fire of southern Israel Thursday morning, said in a statement that it was in response to the systematic aggression of the Israel prison service against Palestinian inmates. Palestinians also shot anti-aircraft fire at the Israeli fighter jets. She have reported. The Wednesday attack has also seems to be in response to reports of a crackdown by the Israel Prison Service, the IPS, against Palestinian inmates in Israeli jails, especially female prisoners. And it says images and a video circulating on social media shortly after the attack Wednesday shows three Iranian-made 107mm Vajra, one projectile similar to the sharpened found in Sderot, with text on them reading, "The female prisons are a red line." It is unclear which armed group has issued the footage, as there was no immediate claim by any of the Gaza-based groups for the rocket fire Wednesday. And it says the prison service has been taking disciplinary actions against the so-called security prisoners Palestine held on charges who have been allegedly celebrating recent attacks in Israel. The KAN public broadcaster said the moves were also being taken against female Palestinian prisoners, some of who have been transferred to solitary confinement and has their rooms searched. The network said Islamic Jihad has threatened a response over the jailers' actions. Footage supposedly of an Iron Dome intercept over Sderot, if I pronounced that right. And it says early Wednesday, National Security Minister and Tamar Ben-Gvir ordered the prison service to shuttle the two bakeries inside the detention facilities that were supplying security inmates with fresh bread. The minister said the rocket attacks would not deter him from taking measures against prisoners. The rocket fire from Gaza will not stop me from continuing to work to abolish the summer camp conditions of murderous you-know-what groups. I will give my support to the prisoners should go into the prison wing and restore order, he said. I guess this is the guy they talking about. National Security Minister Ben-Gvir gives speech at the press at Jerusalem Shari Hazadik Hospital on January 28th of 2023, which was a couple of days ago. It says tensions have been high as the IDF has pressed on with the anti-you-know-what offense, mostly focused on the northern West Bank, to deal with a series of attacks that left 31 people in Israel dead in 2022 and 7 more attacks on Friday. The IDF operation needed more than 2,500 arrests and nearly raids. It also left 171 Palestinians dead in 2020 and another 35 since the beginning of the year, many of them while carrying out attacks or during clashes with security forces, though some were uninvolved civilians. As you see a photo right here, says Israeli troops operate in the West Bank early February 1st, 2023. On Friday night, a Palestinian gunman from East Jerusalem killing 7 people and injuring 3 more in a capital's Nuvik Yaqub neighborhood, and the next morning, the 13-year-old Palestinian shot and wounded 2 Israeli men in the Old City. There has also been a raise in revenge attacks by Israelis against Palestinians following the 2 attacks. The IDF, which is the Israeli Defense Force, bolstered forces in the West Bank following the recent incidents. So yeah, as you see, a latest incident right here is a retaliation from the Israeli side as they striking missiles in the area of the Sderot area with the Palestinian enclave in that region of an early incident with the Hamas firing 2 rocket missiles, which is intercepted by the Iron Dome. And there, right here, it says the Iran bomb Hamas sites and retaliatory of Gaza strike as rocket sirens here once again. A few hours later on in the day, I believe, which is in the morning time, around about 3 a.m., because time zones are kind of different from different countries. And I'll bring out that Luke. This is the book of Luke, chapter 21, verse 9. Luke 21 and 9. But when ye shall hear of wars and commotions, be ye not terrified, for these things must first come to pass, but the end is not by. Luke 21 and 25. And it reads through the Holy Scriptures. And there shall be signs in the sun and in the moon and in the stars, and upon the earth the distress of nations with perplexities, and the seas of waves roaring. Right, because we're seeing the increase of uproars and uptakes in the people in the world. Nations going against one another, and that's what we're seeing. Nations going against their leaders that's in power, of the injustices, of the treatment of others, clashes between 2 different nations, and that's what we're seeing with this latest story right here of Israel bombs Hamas sites and retaliatory Gaza strikes, rocket sirens, and the Sirens. So definitely these tensions are definitely heating up on both sides, mostly on the Palestinian and Hamas side as well too, near the Gaza Strip, near the West Bank area. So those tensions are going to increase more and more and more as we've seen it for this past week and a half of these tensions been increasing. It's only going to increase more and more and more, between the Palestinians versus the Israelis and the organization from Hamas in the Gaza Strip versus the Israelis. For the injustices, for the aggressions and the treatment from the Palestinians being treated. So you're gonna have these more attacks increasing against the Israeli Defense Force, and you're gonna see more continual retaliation, response attacks from the Israeli Defense Force. So you're gonna see that on both sides. So, hey, these tensions are definitely increasing. That's why I brought out Luke 21:9. We're seeing these wars and commotions, which is currently taking place over there in the Middle East. It's gonna intensify and it's gonna increase more and more. So with that, this was part 2 of this lesson. I did part 1, but I had to cut it short because I had got a phone call. And this is part 2 of this lesson that I wanted to bring out for part 1 and part 2. So once again, hopefully this lesson was edifying. I would like to give all praises and glory and honor to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Wakakadash. Double honors to the elders for preaching this word truthfully and sincerely. And shalom to the Aki, scattered through the 4 corners of the globe, preaching the word truthfully and sincerely as well too. Until next time, I will say shalom.